The following program, The Russ Belville Show, is intended for responsible adults only. We advocate to the repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults. We discuss the science, culture, and controversy about America's marijuana laws. We do not advocate any illegal activity and encourage all listeners to learn their state and federal marijuana laws. Opinions and claims made by guests and advertisers on The Russ Belville Show are their own, and The Russ Belville Show cannot be held legally responsible for their validity or reliability. Viewer discretion is advised.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth. Hey!
Spanning the continent to bring you the truth about cannabis and marijuana law reform.
I smoke pot and I like it a lot.
From the promise of legalization.
And I think that we need to rethink and decriminalize our marijuana laws.
To the agony of prohibition.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
The Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Yeah, I hear you had a question for me.
Now, here's your host, Radical Russ Belville.
Good day, tokers and tokettes, and welcome. It is Monday, February 4th, 2013, and it's got to be 420 somewhere in the world. Welcome to the show. We've got all sorts of great news to bring you about the Brave Mykayla Auction that we had last week. We have raised, I'm just going to say it, we have raised $1,000. You actually have raised $1,000 for Brave Mykayla. The total is actually $902.50, but I am counting on folks to donate for the rest of the week another $97.50, and I'm going to just donate that from the Russ Belville Show. So all donations that come in up until that $97.50, that's all going to Brave Mykayla, so we can just round that up to an even $1,000 check for them. So thank you so much for being a part of that. We are going to bring you some clips and highlights from our Brave Mykayla auction coming up at 1:30. We've been promising you all last week you'd get to hear a clipped up version of the Apples and Bananas song. So that's coming up at 1:30, plus some of our question and answer session with Brave Mykayla in case you missed it last Tuesday, or those of you on the podcast subscription didn't get a chance to hear it. You'll get to hear it today. Also on today's show, time for a radical rant. I've been checking out the New York Times that had an amazing story on college-level Adderall abuse of the prescription stimulant. We'll talk about that, take a look at some pretty shocking statistics with respect to that drug. Also on today's show, we're going to go behind the headlines and take a look at a synthetic pot case. You know, that K2 spice, synthetic cannabinoid stuff. A terrible case of a 16-year-old girl who had a terrible reaction to it, and my thoughts on the synthetic pot craze. But before we get to all of that, we've got our daily Toker Tunes today. At 8 o'clock tonight, we've got a new version of the Viper Hour, and tonight it's going to be all about jazz royalty in commemoration of the British archaeologists finding the skeleton of Richard III. I thought, let's bring out some kings and queens and dukes and counts and all of that from the old jazz era. So check that out at 8 o'clock tonight. To preview that for our Daily Toker Tune today, going to bring you a little Duke Ellington. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. But before we get to all of that, we have got our 420 radio news. We got headlines from all over the country. Make sure you stick around and get the latest updates. And you can always check out news.radicalruss.com.
It's simply business. It's simply business. It's simply business, you know why they won't let us grow. It's simply business.
We'll be right back after these messages from our 420 friendly sponsors. Support these advertisers because their ad money goes straight to the Russ Belville Show. You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
It's simply business. It's simply business. It's simply business, you know why they won't let us grow.
California is the center of marijuana consciousness. That's why High Times Magazine is returning to the Golden State for our second High Times Medical Cannabis Cup in Los Angeles. That's right. Come to LA Center Studios on February 16th and 17th for this high-flying event. Meet the medical cannabis industry, visit our extra special medicating area, and sample the best cannabis products of Southern California. There'll be cultivation seminars and presentations about getting pot legalized, not just in California, but everywhere. Be there on Saturday evening when we host a Rock'em Sock'em concert with surprise musical guests. And don't forget Sunday night and the High Times Medical Cannabis Cup Awards when we honor the best sativa, best indica, best hybrid, best concentrate, and best edibles of the LA medical cannabis scene. Plus, we present the High Times Lifetime Achievement Award to marijuana superstar Tommy Chong. Come to the City of the Angels on February 16th and 17th for a High Times Cannabis Celebration. Go to medcancup.com for details. Live the high life. Be proud of who you are. Be part of the growing cannabis community.
Now it's time for your 420 Radio News for Monday, February 4th, 2013. I'm Russ Belville. Super Bowl contest winner denied entry to the United States. This from CBC News. A Vancouver Island man who won an all-expenses-paid trip to the Super Bowl in New Orleans has been refused entry into the United States because of a marijuana possession conviction dating back to 1981. Victoria resident Miles Wilkinson won the trip in a fantasy football league contest, competing against nearly 4 million other players for the chance to attend the NFL championship featuring the Ravens and the 49ers. But when he got to Pearson International Airport in Toronto on Thursday, U.S. Customs agents learned of a marijuana possession conviction in Vancouver in 1981 and told him he was not allowed to enter the country. Wilkinson told CBC News, quote, "I had 2 grams of cannabis. I paid a $50 fine," end quote. Wilkinson said he was age 19 when he was busted. Lawmakers mull marijuana limit for drivers from the Colorado Springs Gazette. HB 114 would define driving under the influence of marijuana as a driver's blood containing 5 nanograms or more of the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana, delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, better known as THC. Opponents of past marijuana driving measures have said the THC limit can be erroneous. A person could be over the threshold, but not actually be high because of varying tolerance levels and effects of the drug. Waller says this year he has a compromise that could draw enough support from Democrats to push through both the House and the Senate. The compromise is a variance in how the law is written. Waller's bill currently says at the 5 nanogram limit a driver is presumed to be under the influence, opening up other legal defenses. Interestingly, Waller's bill also changes the laws for vehicular homicide and assault laws while driving under the influence. Now, a person is presumed to be under the influence of alcohol if they exceed the .08 limit. Under Waller's law, such fact gives rise to the permissible inference that a driver is under the influence. It gives the vehicular homicide and assault laws the same lesser burden of proof as the proposed marijuana law. Washington Legislature Day 22, confusing marijuana laws, from spokesman.com. Washington is in danger of having 2 different and sometimes conflicting marijuana laws, one for those who have it for medical uses and one for everyone else, legislators were told today. Washington is the only state that has a medical marijuana law that does not also have some sort of state registry for patients who have some type of doctor's approval for using the drug. Senate Bill 5528 would require patients to have an authorization card on some type of tamper-proof paper, but no registry. Medical marijuana advocates say any identification system for patients should be handled by the state health department, not the Liquor Control Board. Also, in Senate Joint Memorial 8000, the legislature would ask the federal government to reclassify marijuana from a Schedule I drug, which means it has no legal use, to a Schedule II drug, which would allow it to be prescribed for certain medical conditions. San Jose firefighters extinguished blaze at home with more than 300 marijuana plants. A small fire broke out Saturday night in a San Jose home filled with more than 300 marijuana plants, according to fire and police departments, reported by the San Jose Mercury News. The single alarm blaze was reported at 11:45 p.m. when a neighbor saw smoke coming from the garage of a home, according to Captain Reggie Williams. Firefighters forced their way into the garage and quickly extinguished a small blaze. The electrical meter had been bypassed, which likely caused the fire. Prescription drug overdoses soar in New York City and across the United States, from PsychCentral.com. Prescription drugs are the second most abused category of drugs after marijuana. In late 2011, Thomas Frieden, MD, director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, said overdoses involving prescription painkillers now kill more Americans than heroin and cocaine combined. A new study finds the rate of drug overdoses from prescription opioids increased sevenfold in New York City over a 16-year period, with a significant concentration among white residents of the city. They found that the increase in the rate of drug overdose was driven entirely by analgesic overdoses such as painkillers like OxyContin, which were 2.7 per 100,000 persons in 2006, or 7 times higher than that rate in 1990. Meanwhile, methadone overdoses remained stable and heroin overdoses declined. That's your 420 Radio News for today, Monday, February 4th, 2013. I'm Russ Belville. When we come back, we go behind the headlines and the story of a almost tragic reaction to synthetic cannabinoids sold as fake pot. You're listening to the Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. We'll be right back after this.
The law offices of Omar Figueroa would like to remind you to stand up for your rights. Please do not give up your precious liberties. There's nothing wrong with standing up for our constitutional rights, and in fact, it's the only way to honor the Constitution that recognizes our natural rights. Treat law enforcement with respect and respect the Constitution by standing up for your rights. If you are detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, "I respectfully invoke all my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search and seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to speak to my attorney, Omar Figueroa." Omar Figueroa has more than a decade of experience in federal and California courts and graduated from Yale University, Stanford Law School, and Trial Lawyers College. Please contact the law offices of Omar Figueroa at 415-489-0420 or 707-829-0215. or on the web at www.omarfigueroa.com.
I'm Sub Cool from Team Green Avenger. At TGAgenetics.com, we are working on the leading edge of medical strains. Our strains are rigorously tested for THC, CBD, THCV, and other critical cannabinoids. Know your grow. Check out our genetic diversity at TGAgenetics.com, the home of Jelly Bean, Jack the Ripper, Vortex, and other award-winning cannabis strains.
All right, welcome back, everybody. 13 after the hour, and today we're going to go behind the headlines. We've kind of got a theme for today's show, if you haven't noticed already, taking a look at drugs other than marijuana and how they tie in to marijuana's prohibition. For Behind the Headlines, I wanted to take a look at this story that was on CNN.com. It was entitled, "Teen Narrowly Escapes Death After Smoking Synthetic Marijuana." Now, this is best known by its street names, right? You've heard it called Spice or K2. You often find it in convenience stores or head shops. It's a herbal mixture of God knows what herb, Tootie Puff, Wizard Smoke, whatever the hell, that's sprayed with synthetic cannabinoids. And it's supposed to create a high similar to smoking marijuana. But it's usually illegal. Almost everywhere now, most states have come up with some sort of laws to try to ban the stuff. And synthetic marijuana, according to a report from the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, was linked to over 11,000 emergency room department visits in 2010. Okay, so we got 11,000 or more coming in because of this Spice K2 stuff. Now, the story that's in CNN focuses on this young girl, 16-year-old girl Emily, who is noted to be an A and B student, a sophomore in high school, who developed persistent migraines and for about 2 weeks, and then she wound up in the ICU on December 8th. One bad migraine even sent her to the ER, and doctors scheduled an MRI, but she was too claustrophobic to be able to do the MRI, so they never got that done. Now, this kind of tugged at my heart a little bit, of course, because my wife is a medical marijuana patient, and one of the reasons why is for migraine. She gets migraine severe enough, I've had to take her to the emergency room. So this kind of, made me take notice. So, one day she complains of a migraine and took a nap at her house, allegedly after smoking spice with her friends on December 7th. When she woke up, she was a different person. Stumbling and slurring her words, she morphed into a psychotic state of hallucinations and violent outbursts, her family said. She bit guardrails and attempted to bite those trying to help her. Hospital staff strapped Emily down in the bed, said her sister. To keep Emily safe, doctors put her in an induced coma. After days in the sedated state, an MRI revealed she had suffered several severe strokes. The DEA spokeswoman Barbara Carreno spoke on this and said, you're hearing some pretty bad things with synthetic cannabinoids. Part of this has to do with the potency. It can be 100 times more potent than marijuana. But this was another follow-up on her quotation, and to hear this coming from DEA, amazing quote here. Anything that was truly a fake pot wouldn't be making your heart race. I heard of palpitations with marijuana, but not tachycardia. Here's the DEA coming out and saying, oh my God, this fake pot stuff is so much worse than marijuana. I've never heard of this, something bad like this with marijuana. So you're getting that from a DEA spokesperson. According to another stat from the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, 1 in 9 high school seniors admits to having used fake weed in 2011. Synthetic marijuana is the second most popular illicit drug they use, behind marijuana, of course. Now, the girl was in an induced coma. They had taken her off life support. They had taken away a feeding tube. They were just giving her morphine, expecting her to die because of these strokes. She is now, she recovered. She's still in the ICU. She's recognizing her family's voices, but she's still blind, still in severe shape. It's too early to see what kind of effects of brain damage she might have, but she is moving her arms and legs. So I wanted to address this with respect to the cannabis community, in respect to Project Sam and all these, people that get their knickers in a twist over whether or not the kids are going to be smoking pot. Would you rather they're smoking this stuff? The kids are looking for a high. And again, I always have to preface this stuff by saying, I don't have kids, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Go ahead, say it as much as you want. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But it would seem to me that there's a certain number of kids who are going to try to smoke pot. And if we restrict them from smoking pot, they will try something else. There's just a certain number of people. There's a certain type of person who's a thrill seeker, who wants to try these things. So when we restrict the pot and we get it to the point where they can't get that, some entrepreneur fills that market, either by supplying pot illegally and taking all the risks and the violence that's associated with that, and bringing a kid in contact with possibly other drugs they might have for sale, or the legal route, where these legal manufacturers use all of these synthetic cannabinoids that were developed by John W. Huffman and some of these other researchers, because those researchers couldn't get their hands on the real thing either. And you got to understand, these synthetic cannabinoids, when they're putting these things together, these things are meant to be laboratory grade, right? When they do studies on this stuff, they don't got the time to give you a regular human amount of, whatever, they're testing on a rat or whatever. They don't have the time to give it tiny, tiny doses over 10, 20 years and see what happens with it. No, when they engineer these molecules, they engineer these synthetic cannabinoids to really trip that cannabinoid receptor system. They are engineered in such a way to get real quick results. They're very potent. They're so much unlike what we're used to from smoking pot. And again, we're talking about an industry that goes ahead and puts on its label, not intended for human consumption. And in a similar respect to how the supplement manufacturers can say, not intended to diagnose or cure or treat any disease, right? All those guys are running roughshod. But then people in medical marijuana states, you want to use it as a medicine, get told, oh, sorry, the FDA hasn't approved it. And these guys are running out. Now, I know you're trying to, pass laws to ban spice and synthetic cannabinoids, but folks, this is an arms race we can never win. No matter what law you put on the books as far as how the chemical structure is supposed to be, someone will tweak a molecule here, an atom there, whatever, and get past that law. They're doing it already. All this arms race to try to stop kids and adults from using something that would hardly, never, ever in the most obscure chance in the world cause anything as severe as what Emily and her family are going through because of the fake stuff. It's maddening, my man.
Those poor people who are forced to use this stuff that's undetectable. It's ridiculous.
I didn't even get to the point about how drug testing leads people to use the synthetic stuff.
That's the main thing. That's where I looked from the very beginning.
We'll be right back.
He said he swam to China. He would sell you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
Great. Drugs make me strong. Drugs make me smart. Drugs make me feel good. Drugs make me cool.
You believe that crap? Huh? You believe all that stuff they're handing you about drugs? You want to believe in something? How about yourself? Don't do drugs.
NORMAL stands for responsible adult cannabis use. If cannabis use is causing problems in your life, consider taking a break or seeking medical assistance. Consider ceasing cannabis use if you have a family history of mental illness. Don't drive or operate heavy machinery while impaired by cannabis use. Cannabis use is not without risks, even though the risks may be far less than those posed by legal drugs. Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Roots Monday, featuring the blues, country, folk, and jazz music that birthed the modern sounds we enjoy today. You can get downloads and more information about all our Daily Toker Tunes by visiting music.radicalruss.com. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tunes.
According to the Los Angeles Times, more than 500 years after his death in battle, scientists announced Monday that they had definitively identified a skeleton unearthed in northern England last summer as that of Richard III, the medieval king portrayed by William Shakespeare as a homicidal tyrant who killed his two young nephews in order to ascend to the throne. DNA from the bones found beneath the ruins of an old church matches that of a living descendant of the monarch's sister, researchers said. Richard Buckley, the lead archaeologist on the excavation, told a phalanx of reporters Monday morning, quote, "Rarely have the conclusions of academic research been so eagerly awaited. Beyond reasonable doubt, the individual exhumed is indeed Richard III, the last Plantagenetic king of England." So what does that have to do with the Roots Monday Daily Toker Tunes? Well, not much, really, other than I was emailing Greg out in England for tomorrow's Across the Pond segment from the UK, and I saw this archaeological research, and it led me to think of what could possibly be my theme tonight for the new Viper Hour, when we bring you an hour worth of good old reefer jazz and blues from the 1900s to the 1950s. And, well, a king. King Richard III was exhumed. Let's dedicate tonight to all of the kings and queens and counts and dukes of the jazz era. So we got some Benny Goodman, the King of Swing, coming up. We've got some Ella Fitzgerald, the Queen of Jazz, coming up on tonight's Viper Hour. And for the Roots Monday Daily Toker Tune, we're going to bring it to a Duke. Duke Ellington, one of my favorite artists, played a lot of Duke Ellington music when I was in the military band back in my younger days. And his orchestra with It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing.
Yeah, swinging. Oh, growling.
ain't got that swing. It don't mean a thing, all you gotta do is sing. What a da 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 da. It makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. Just keep that rhythm, give it everything you got. Say, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. What da 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 da. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. It don't mean a thing, all you gotta do is sing. It makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. Just sing that thing, give it everything you got. Oh, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. It don't mean a thing, all you gotta do is sing. Swing gate. It makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. Sing that thing, give it everything you got. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Hey, hey.
What that do? 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 What that do?
Hi, this is Dan Michaels. If you're looking for professional voice talent for your commercial or podcast, I'm your man. Visit danmichaelsaudio.com for more information.
Hey, how's it going? My name's Will. I don't work at a used record store. I don't own an iguana, although I'm sure they make great pets. I don't have dreadlocks or play the acoustic guitar. I can remember quite well, thank you, and no, I don't constantly have the munchies. When 420 comes around, I've still got 40 minutes of work left. I've never hit a girl on a bike with my car or shot my friend with a shotgun. I've never had to apologize for letting a girl I was watching drown in a pool while I was getting high because, duh, I wouldn't be getting high if I was around children. I'm a regular guy who works regular jobs, just like the majority of all Americans who use marijuana occasionally and responsibly. My name is Will, and I'm normal.
The cannabis community includes a diverse set of activists and nonprofits working to end the prohibition of marijuana. We take the time to hear the stories of reform on the Russ Belville Show's Cannabis Community Chat.
Welcome back, everybody. 28 after the hour. And, you know, there's a lot of things I'm proud of in my activism career, but few things are going to make me any prouder than what we did this last week. We had an auction for Brave Mykayla, who's a medical marijuana patient here in Oregon. She's fighting leukemia and chemotherapy, and she made national headlines when it was revealed that she was taking cannabis oil capsules. So we decided to put our stuff together. We found a whole bunch of stuff that we've got here at the Rolla J Studios, as well as stuff that was donated by a lot of our friends of the show. And we raised $1,000 for Brave Mykayla's family, helped them with the various expenses that they've got to go through. This cancer ain't cheap. So it's going to be one of my proudest moments of all time, and I'm so glad that we could help in any little way. You can continue to help. Just go to bravemykayla.com. They've got all sorts of ways that you can help and donate. And again, we're going to kick in $97.50 here from the show to bring it up to an even $1,000 with the auction. But if you want to help us offset that cost, hey, we've got donate buttons up at the website now. You can kick in for as low as $1.42 for postage, all the way up to $420 to help us get a flight somewhere. Like, let's get Brian to Denver for the High Times Cannabis Cup. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, you know, I've never actually even been on a plane.
Yeah,
Over
Brian's
30 years
first
old.
flight. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, that would be fun.
First flight to be to the Cannabis Cup. Let's see if we can make that happen. Help us out at 420radio.org. Just look on the sidebars for the various donate buttons. If you're looking for the results of the benefit auction, you can find those in a blog post now on all of our shows. It'll take you to a link. It's just benefit-auction on the website, but it's not on the menu anymore since the auction is no longer live. For our listeners in Hour 1 who are podcast subscribers, in fact, the vast majority of people who listen to this show are podcast subscribers who listen on their commute, while they're trimming. In fact, I got an email today, and I can't tell you from who or what branch or anything, but I will just say from an officer in the United States military who listens to the show, and thank you for your service and thank you for listening. But a lot of people, I got a retired judge in Denton, Texas who listens to the show, conservative.
We had an Air Force call in a while back.
We sure did. We got a lot of different listeners, and most of you are listening recorded on the podcast, audio only, right? So you didn't get a chance to hear Brave Mykayla when she came in Hour 2 on Tuesday with her family.
Or as I kind of call it, the cuteness bomb that blew up all over Russ Belville Show.
Sure did. She certainly cuted up the place. Man. So we're going to play some clips. I've got some clips cut from her interview from last Tuesday for our Hour 1 listeners to enjoy. We're going to start with our interview with Brave Mykayla and her reaction, what she would tell other kids and other people about medical marijuana, and it's just adorable, so listen up. Hi, Mykayla.
Hello.
Oh, I got to adjust the volume on that one. Let me see if I can get a camera over on you, little girl, because you're so cute. What's that? That's the cutest little hat you've got on.
Thank you.
I got a whole lot of really cute hats.
See if you can get that camera there.
I got 3 cupcake hats at home.
Really?
One is pink, and one is white, and one is purple.
One pink, one white, one purple?
Yep.
And then that one that's blue?
Yep.
Well, that's pretty cool.
This one's a monster hat.
I can see the eyes on it. They're kind of googly.
I really like the new hat that I saw your picture of that was the Egyptian hat.
Thank you.
I really like that one.
Egyptian hat.
Yeah, that got sent to us by Clint Werner. He's an author. I can't recall the name of his book right now. Marijuana, the Gateway to Health. That's right. And he sent her that as a little gift, and the girls love it.
Well, that's sweet. You're getting a lot of attention, a lot of gifts from people that are wanting to help you out.
Is this the iPad that Gamerosity got to you?
No, that's the Kindle that I gave Riley.
Oh, okay. your iPad at home?
No, it's in the basket.
Oh.
The people who are who watch our show, they really like you. They really like you a lot.
Thank you.
And so that sometimes they have some questions and they want to know, like, what's it like, with all the stuff that you're doing. So today you had to go see doctors, right?
Yep.
What's that like?
Well, when I get my port access, they put cold spray on it, so I kind of don't feel when they access my port, because they put a needle into the metal part.
Oh, yeah. So there's like needles involved and stuff?
Yep.
So when you say your port, that means you've got a little tube thing on on your chest and on your back.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We had a friend who worked for our show a lot. His name was Ganja John, and he had kidneys that he had to get a transplant, and so he has those kind of tubes too, where they'd have to plug them in and stuff. Does it hurt at all?
Well, sometimes it does. When you first get it, it's like you sometimes scream.
Ooh, yeah.
But once you get it a lot, you get used to it, and you sometimes don't even feel it.
Sure. So you did,
and then you just make a peep like a mouse.
Oh yeah. So you did one of your chemotherapy treatments today, right?
Uh-huh.
And you seem to be pretty happy, and it looks like you're feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
How does that happen? Does your medicine help you any with that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I saw that you...
it does most of the work.
And what does the rest of the work?
Nothing really.
I think Brave Mykayla does a lot of the work, too.
Right, you're doing a lot of the work.
Cannabis, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you know what? It's really neat to meet your sister Riley today, too.
Mm-hmm. Can you say hi?
Hi, Riley.
Hi.
Yeah.
Nice to see you. So this has been a big story. Do you know how many people around the country and the world know about Brave Mykayla?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people.
Lots and lots of people. Do they write you letters and stuff?
Yep, some of them even send me packages.
Oh, that's sweet.
I see that you sometimes post that they send you pictures too.
Yep, they send me cranes
and hats and sweaters. One of this sweater that I'm wearing right now got sent in the mail from someone that made it.
Do you want to turn towards the camera there and show it to him? Show it to our audience? That's so you can thank him too if you want.
Can you say thank you, Kaleidoscope?
Thank you, Kaleidoscopes.
There you go.
Thank you
That's
very
pretty.
much, Kaleidoscope.
That's awfully pretty.
Yeah, that's very nice. Is it warm?
Yep, I got another one at home that's blue and green.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So, this is kind of, one of the things about using cannabis as a medicine is that it scares some people. They're kind of afraid of it. And so what would you tell them as far as,
Don't be afraid.
Yeah? How come?
Because it helps other people that use it, and it helps me a lot.
It helps you a whole lot. Did you used to take other medicines? Did they help a lot?
Yeah, but like the steroids and stuff that they gave me, the steroids make me kind of grouchy and stuff.
There's a lot of stories of football players who got kind of grouchy from that stuff too. So I totally understand. Well,
there's a little bit of Brave Mykayla in our interview with her. And again, she had just come from like an hour before having a chemotherapy treatment. And there she is just happy and munching French fries. Just munch, French fry. And just amazing. And so you cannot deny the medical efficacy of cannabis when you see it in this little girl's eyes. It's just amazing. Now, continuing with some of these highlights from our visit with Brave Mykayla, Red Eyes got a chance to ask her about food. And that led her to revealing her, this would be her debut single, I guess.
Yeah.
This is Brave Mykayla's debut single, Apples and Bananas.
There's a couple of questions pouring in the chat room. So one of them here is, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food is apples and bananas.
Oh. There's a song about apples and bananas. Have you ever sang that song?
No.
Yeah, okay, well maybe.
But I made a little one up. Apples and bananas, apples and bananas, apples and bananas, apples and bananas. Apples are my favorite. Apples are my favorite. And so are bananas, 'cause bananas are great for you.
That's a great song.
That's a good song.
Our studio audience loves that. Listen to all those people cheering for you.
Thank you.
I think it's the first time my canned audience has gotten thanks. It's a beautiful thing. So there you go. That's the Apples and Bananas song. And let's be clear here. Apples are her favorite, as well as bananas. Yes. Okay. I'm totally with you there. All right. So let's talk a little more with Brave Mykayla. And again, big thanks to our audience for helping us raise $1,000 for this little girl and her medical expenses. This is Brave Mykayla talking about school. To schedule their lives around these shifting schedules.
Yeah. Well, pretty much our lives are now. It's based. I mean, her appointments. We know they're every week, so we know that Tuesdays we have to keep open for her, and that's our life now. Mm-hmm. Right now, it's get her and getting her better and getting her to all of her appointments, and that's our life. So. Yeah. We're getting used to it. It's about to get a lot easier, hopefully, when she gets on to the next round of chemo, which is done mostly from home.
Oh, okay. So
you're almost done with the first round of chemo?
No, we're almost done with the fourth round of chemo. And her last round is called maintenance, and it's done mostly from home. And so instead of weekly,
expect us to poison her.
Instead of weekly appointments at the hospital,
we just go once a month on maintenance
for the checkup.
And I get the.
Bring her over to
but I also have to get meds at home, like some pills, like antibiotics and steroids and stuff.
Yeah. All sorts of stuff that you've probably taken more pills in your lifetime than I have.
I bet I have.
I'll bet you have. My goodness. So do you get to see a lot of other people when you go? Are there other kids that you get to talk to?
Sometimes.
I was looking on the
Today I got to see a new kid, and her name is Genesee, and she just got a car.
That's okay. We understand. Sometimes you have to be careful about, talking about other folks, because, they might not want to talk about this stuff. You never know.
Yeah,
But that's good.
That
It's-
little one has a feeding tube, but she's still remaining positive. I feel bad for her having to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had a Facebook there.
Oh, no, it was the post that they were talking about with Genesee.
Your new friend, huh?
Yeah, her new friend down at the hospital. They had chemo the same day.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So this is and we talked about your school and everything, and you had told me that you really liked math, but is there something in school that you don't like so much?
Not really.
Not really like it all, huh?
Uh-huh.
I was like that too, when I
School
was
is my most favorite thing in the world.
Because you learn,
Sucks this
right?
year that you don't get to go to school, huh?
Yeah, but next year I'll get to go to school.
And it'll be what, 3rd grade?
No, Mama is gonna ask the teacher if I could go back to the 2nd grade because I didn't get to really go to 2nd grade and I want to meet some new best friends that are in 2nd grade.
You know what? About, when I think back, I have friends that I've known since 2nd grade. And now we're old. But I've known them for a long, long time. That's some of your best friends you make in 2nd grade.
Sometimes
Yep.
it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes, one time I met my best friend Bailey in school and she went to the same class as me. And now she lives in Pendleton and I live here, so we don't get to see each other very much.
Because you're
She's like my BFF.
and because you're from Pendleton, right? Originally,
Yep.
right? But you have to be in Portland for all these treatments.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you get to talk to her on your iPad at all? Maybe.
Sometimes I get to talk to her on the phone.
Oh,
That's good.
Well,
that's
that's
good.
good. Well, it's
gotta
good to have friends.
Keep friends close.
Yeah, good to have friends you can talk to about this stuff because it's tough to do, and it's good to have a family that's taking care of you like this, and all these people that are so interested in making sure that you have a good life, man. We're so glad you're here. I can't tell you how happy I am. Yeah, absolutely adorable, Brave Mykayla. Check her out at bravemykayla.com. Brave Mama's blog is also available there through the links at bravemykayla.com. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I've got a little bit of a radical rant for you. We're going to take a look at Adderall in America. And before that, a video that was pointed out from a DEA agent. I've seen it before.
We'll be right back after these messages from our 420 friendly sponsors. Support these advertisers because their ad money goes straight to the Russ Belville Show.
It's actually not an agent. It's the head of the DEA. And if you want to understand why we're having trouble getting cannabis...
You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
As a medicine, then just check this video out.
Is crack worse for a person than marijuana?
I believe all illegal drugs are bad.
Is methamphetamine worse for somebody's health than marijuana?
I don't think any illegal drug
Is
good.
heroin worse for someone's health than marijuana?
Again, all.
I mean, either
they're
yes,
illegal
no, or
drugs.
I don't know. I mean, if you don't know, you can look this up. You should know this as the chief administrator for the Drug Enforcement Agency. I'm asking you a very straightforward question. Is heroin worse for someone's health than marijuana?
All illegal drugs are bad.
Does this mean you don't know?
Heroin causes an addiction.
Okay.
That causes many problems. It's very hard to kick.
So does that mean that the health impact of heroin is worse than marijuana? Is that what you're telling me?
I think you're asking a subjective question.
No, it's subjective. Just looking at the science, this is your area of expertise. I'm a layperson, but I've read some of the studies. I'm aware of it. I'm just asking you as an expert in the subject area, is heroin worse for someone's health than marijuana?
And I'm answering as a police officer and as a DEA agent that these drugs are illegal because they are dangerous, because they are addictive, because they do hurt a person's health.
So heroin is more addictive than marijuana? Is heroin more addictive than marijuana in your experience?
Generally, the properties of heroin, yes, it's more addictive.
Is methamphetamine more addictive than marijuana?
Well, both are addictive.
Well, is methamphetamine more highly addictive than marijuana?
I think some people become addicted to marijuana, and some people become addicted to methamphetamine.
You mentioned that your top priority, I believe you indicated to us, is abuse of prescription drugs. Is one of the main classifications of prescription drugs painkillers that you're concerned about?
That's correct.
And are those painkillers addictive?
Yes, they are. Very addictive.
Are those painkillers more addictive than marijuana?
All illegal drugs are in Schedule 1 are addictive.
The Russ Belville Show. Chat is for friends 18 and older. We expect our chat to be civil, mature, and free from excessive profanity. If you don't like these rules, there are approximately 6 billion other chat rooms with lower standards that you can visit. The Russ Belville Show brings you the best in daily toker tunes every weekday. Each day features a different genre, including Roots Monday,
Folks, here's a story about Minnie the Moocher,
Electric Tuesday, Irie Wednesday,
Summer ganja planter, call me the ganja farmer.
Groovin' Thursday,
Do you wanna get high?
and Rockin' Friday. Then on weekends, we make...
You want answers? I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
And you have offended the Shaolin Temple.
You can't handle the truth.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Radical Branch.
All right, like I said earlier on in the show, today we're kind of looking at drugs other than marijuana, and there was a story in the New York Times. It was a very, very long story. Concern about ADHD practices and amphetamine addiction. ADHD, of course, adult, what is it? Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. There it is. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. And according to this story in the Time, 5 million Americans take medication for ADHD. And the medication we're talking about in this story is Adderall. And this particular version of methamphetamine, yes, it is a form of a methamphetamine, people, can markedly improve the lives of children and others with this disorder. But the tunnel-like focus the medicine provides has led growing numbers of teenagers and young adults to fake symptoms in order to obtain steady prescriptions for the highly addictive medications that carry serious psychological dangers. These efforts are facilitated by a segment of doctors who skip established diagnostic procedures, renew prescriptions reflexively, and spend too little time with patients to accurately monitor side effects. Now, this is one of the cases where the drug warriors will take this and they'll say, see, we can't even control the legal drugs. Why would we want to make marijuana legal? Well, for the first apples and oranges comparison, Adderall and methamphetamines are highly addictive and marijuana's not. But also, the case of these young adults, people in high school and college being able to get their hands on these Schedule II prescriptions is yet another example of how we commoditize healthcare in this country. The DEA has allowed the manufacture of OxyContin to go through the roof. To manufacture these Schedule II narcotics, the factory that makes them, the drug manufacturer, can't just crank up the old factory and pump out as many as they want. They have quotas. They have to get allowances from the DEA for how much they are going to manufacture. So if there's a serious abuse problem with this stuff, it's not like Ritalin or Adderall grow out of the ground. They're not mushrooms. They're not coca leaves. They're not cannabis plants. They must be manufactured. If there is an overdose problem with this, if there's an overprescription problem with this, part of it has to be over-manufacture of this, and the pharmaceutical companies constantly pumping this product and trying to convince kids who might just be a little hyper or adults who might have trouble focusing that they all have ADHD. Now, I don't want to discount ADHD. One of my most revered mentors in talk radio is Tom Hartman, who is one of the nation's experts on this stuff. So yes, there is real ADHD, and there are kids for whom this kind of medication is the only thing that works. But they are dwarfed right now by the kids in college, by the young adults in college and high school who are using this as a study aid. And let me continue on with some facts here from this New York Times story. Young adults are by far the fastest growing segment of people taking ADHD medications. Nearly 14 million monthly prescriptions for the condition were written for Americans aged 20 to 39 in 2011. That's 2.5 times the 5.6 million just 4 years ago. 2.5 times more prescriptions in a 4-year period, according to the data company IMS Health. While this rise is generally attributed to the maturing of adolescents who have ADHD into young adults, combined with a greater recognition of adult ADHD in general, many experts caution that savvy college graduates freed of parental oversight can legally and easily obtain stimulant prescriptions from obliging doctors. Now, the majority of this story goes on to tell the story of a young man aged 24, 25, I think, named Richard, who got addicted to Adderall, began faking symptoms, began doctor shopping to get his medications, and eventually took his own life. And it's a sad, sad story. But when you look at this, he's typical. He's very typical, according to this quote here from the Times story. Richard's first experience with ADHD pills, like so many others, had come in college. Friends said he was a typical undergraduate user. When he needed to finish a paper or cram for exams, one Adderall capsule would jolt him with focus and purpose for 6 to 8 hours, repeat as necessary. Various studies have estimated that 8 to 35% of college students take stimulant pills to enhance school performance. Few students realize that giving or accepting even one Adderall pill from a friend with a prescription is a federal crime. Adderall and its stimulant siblings are classified by the DEA as Schedule II drugs in the same category as cocaine because of their highly addictive properties. Chris Hewitt, a friend of Richard's, said of students' attitudes toward the drug, quote, "It's incredibly nonchalant. It's, anyone have any Adderall? I want to study tonight," end quote. And this is another part of the drug war that is so troubling. As I read through this story, and also, some further on in the story, they talk about this Vyvanse, which was a form of Adderall, a form of meth that he finally got himself onto. And let me just read you some of the side effects from this Vyvanse. This is the drug that's Schedule II, highly addictive, prone to abuse, but it does have a medical purpose. Unlike marijuana, which is Schedule I and has no medical purpose whatsoever. Here's some of the side effects from this Vyvanse. Fast pounding or uneven heartbeats, decreased blood pressure, feeling lightheaded, fainting, tremor, restlessness, hallucinations, unusual behavior, or motor tics. Dangerously high blood pressure, severe headache, blurred vision, buzzing in your ears, anxiety, confusion, chest pain, shortness of breath, seizure, loss of appetite, weight loss, sleep problems, insomnia, nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, feeling irritable, mild skin rash, dry mouth, unpleasant taste in the mouth, decreased appetite, headache, pyrexia, abdominal pain, dry mouth, nausea, vomiting, unpleasant taste, diarrhea, constipation, insomnia, dizziness, somnolence, sleepwalking. What else we got? Irritability, affect lability, rash. What else we got here? Decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, impotence, changes in libido, blurred vision. Oh, and if that weren't enough for you, Vyvanse has severe drug interaction warnings with acetaminophen. Acetaminophen. Cymbalta, Effexor, Lexapro, Paxil, Prozac, Wellbutrin, and Zoloft. So don't mix those up any. Can't have ADHD and depression. So you get an idea here, and as it goes through this story at the end, the parents who had suffered the loss of their child, addicted to this prescription Adderall that's just been given out by these doctors, we got to go after the medical marijuana doctors. We got to shut them down. Oh my God, they're the scourge of the earth. Meanwhile, these doctors that this kid saw were handing him out Adderalls like they were Tic Tacs. The parents then decided to go to this event that was for the children and adults with attention deficit disorder. CHAD, right, is this group. And the evening opened with the local CHAD coordinator thanking the drug company Shire, the manufacturer of several ADHD drugs, including Vyvanse, the one I just told you about, and extended release Adderall. Extended release Adderall. Kick that to you over time, for partly underwriting the event. So the drug company that makes the drug, that the Schedule II methamphetamine that you give to people with ADHD, sponsors this and supports the group, the chapter of children and adults with attention deficit disorder. All right, so an hour-long film was directed and narrated by two men with ADHD, closed by examining some myths about stimulant medications, with several doctors praising their efficacy and safety. So here you got a room full of people looking for answers for what they feel is some sort of problem with attention deficit or hyperactivity or something, either in themselves or their kids, in a room where they think they're in a place being sponsored by some, self-help group, parent support group, medical networking group, whatever, nonprofit probably, with the drug company backing it up, and basically a big sales job to these parents and to these people to convince them they've got ADHD and then, hook them on their drug. Here's where the myths that they unearthed in their film. Several doctors praised the efficacy and safety. One said they were, quote, safer than aspirin, end quote. While another added, quote, it's okay, there's nothing that's going to happen, end quote. Sitting in the fourth row, the man who lost his child raised his hand to pose a question to the panel, which was moderated by Jeffrey Katz, a local clinical psychologist and a national board member of CHAD. Quote, what are some of the drawbacks or some of the dangers of a misdiagnosis in somebody? This man who had lost his son asked. And then the subsequent medication that goes along with that, end quote. Dr. Katz looked straight at the parents who had lost their child to Adderall addiction, and he answered, not much. He added that, quote, the medication itself is pretty innocuous, end quote. Dr. Katz continued that someone without ADHD might feel more awake with stimulants, but would not consider it, quote, something that they need, end quote. Quote, if you misdiagnose it and you give someone medication, it's not going to do anything for them, end quote. Why would they continue to take it? He said. And it concludes by saying how the father was then trembling at that point as his wife got him to sit down and, not, I guess, rush the stage and strangle the guy with his bare hands. And I bring this up, and all of this ADHD, and again, it's not like I'm trying to say marijuana is what this kid should have taken instead of, Vyvanse or whatever. It's to point out this reliance, this belief, this frame that we have in America, that if it's doctors and white coats and pill bottles and barcodes and studies and FDA, that it's all okay, that it's all safe and okay, and that it's the plants coming out of the ground and the funguses coming out of the cow shit that we got to worry about. Oh no, those could be terribly dangerous, those flowers and funguses and leaves. We got to watch out for them. And this kind of attitude where kids in college routinely trade Adderall pills like it's nothing, when in actuality, under the law, they are behaving as drug dealers. They are Tony Montana. They are Miami Vice going down every day on the college campus. Because it can't be a crime. It can't be that bad. Why? It's a legal drug. It's legal and it's okay. It's not illegal. It's not one of the bad drugs. It's legal. And because of that attitude and because of this continued misdirection of our focus on harm reduction in this country, we lock up people using the pot and we advertise for people using the methamphetamines. And more people are dead because of it. That's all the time we got here for Hour 1. Stick with us for Hour 2, Toker Talk Radio. Got some more videos, a new video from the High Times people. Funny one, you're going to like it. And also another Brave Mykayla clip, plus your calls at 971-533-7111. For Brian the Red, I'm Radical Russ. Thanks for joining us here on 420 Radio and the Russ Belville Show. Until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth.